Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started with our program. Before we do that, I want to take time to thank our symphonic orchestra for coming in and providing us with the chamber music. So we appreciate you so much. But it's awesome to have such talented musicians at Big Blue. Again, good morning, everybody. My name is John Wilhelm, and I'm principal of Hamilton High School. On behalf of our superintendent, Mr. Tony Orr, and our Board of Education, I want to welcome you to Big Blue, and thank you for attending our fall community breakfast. We have a fantastic program on tap for you today. Before we get started, we do want to honor our country with the presentation of colors and the Pledge of Allegiance. Leading us today in our Pledge of Allegiance is Senior Jessica Keeling. Please rise.
Color guard. Attention. Present. Colors. Ready. Cut.
I pledge allegiance to the flag and the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Colors. Ready. Cut. Color guard. Fall out.
Fantastic, and I want to thank Cadets Noah Witt, Jonathan Hillsmeyer, and you can be seated, please, Casey Simpson and Lydia Guerrero. Seems like every weekend our NJRTC program is competing, whether it's in physical contest or color guard contest. We're hosting this Saturday an event at the Athletic Center, so we'll have 7 other high school NJRTC programs here, as well as our air rifle squadron is heading up to Port Clinton, and they'll be competing as well. We're very proud of them. I have, I think, a couple of trophies in my office right now from various events where they've done well. And of course, last year they represented the Midwest region at national championships in Pensacola, Florida. So thank you to them. And they're going to be back in here. They're going to get some breakfast and then sit down with everybody else. So go ahead. At this time, I'd like to recognize our Board of Education who are in attendance today. We have our Board President, Mr. Scott Kruger. We have our Board Vice President, Mr. Steve Isgro, Board Member Robert Weigel, and retiring this year after 28 years of service is Board Member Larry Bowling. And Mr. Bowling, I just want to thank you for your years of dedication that you've put to Hamilton City Schools. I think it's tremendous. And also with us is Board-elect Mr. Tom Alf. Mr. Alf is also, in addition to being a part of the board here soon, is also a mentor within the lab program and does a lot for our students. When I had this vision of this community breakfast, I figured we'd invite a few people over, we'd have some coffee and maybe some bagels. And as you can tell, this is a lot better than coffee and bagels. However, this would not be possible if not for the sponsorship and the partnership of our group, Financial Credit Union. And so I want to take this time to thank Eileen Meeker and Amy Hosfeld for the work they do at Hamilton High School. So thank you to our group, Financial. Weekly, they are in our building. We have a Big Blue Credit Union here, and so weekly they are in our building working on financial literacy with our students. And it's a tremendous support that they give us, but also a great resource so that our students start to learn about opening bank accounts and starting saving their money and being fiscally responsible. So that's very, very important. And I think I've been a member, Amy, since 1990, so I certainly appreciate our group as well. Today we come together to learn more about the leadership within the hallways of Big Blue, as well as within the chambers of City Council. Joining us today we have Wilson Middle School Principal Cheryl Burke, as well as Speaking in behalf of our students, Sean Riggins, who's a senior at Big Blue, and also Joshua Smith, our city manager. Seated amongst the adults here, we have a few organizations. We have our Big Blue Credit Union members, and again, they're under the direction of Zelene Miller and Amy Hosfeld. We also have our cadets from the NJROTC, but also we have our Leadership Academy at Blue. And most of the young men have on their white polos that say lab on it. And it's been a tremendous program put in place over the course of these last 4 years. And we're starting to see the impact with our senior class who's been in this organization for the last 3 years. That came to fruition through the work of Cheryl Burke, Robert Burke, as well as Brad Watkins. And I see Cheryl's here and Brad's here. I don't know if Robert's here. He couldn't make it. Robert's moved on, but he still has an impact on our students today. To introduce Cheryl and speak about being a mentor, I want to introduce also Matt Shermer. Matt's going to come up and speak real quick, and then Cheryl's going to take over. Matt?
Good morning. I do have the privilege of introducing Ms. Cheryl Burke today. She has spent over 30 years in education, the last 12 of which have been as a principal of Wilson Middle School. And just to give a little bit of background on the lab, and I'm not going to steal too much thunder from Cheryl here, but about 4 years ago, the reality came through again for Mr. Bradley Watkins and Mr. Robert Burke that, you know, another young aspiring student and athlete with leadership potential and potential to do well in life had, instead, you know, of showing up in the newspaper for the great things that they're doing, had shown up as a mugshot. And I think that was the reality in the moment that they decided that they needed to make a change. With the reading of a book of Whatever It Takes by Paul Tough, these two gentlemen decided to create a vision, and with the assistance of Ms. Burke, and eventually Ms. Burke coming in as a stronger presence in the process, you know, these three came together and really developed a program that was intended to salvage these young men and to give them leadership opportunities, to give them mentorship opportunities, and really provide an opportunity for them to reach their full potential and to avoid what we had seen so many of our young men return to. So with that, I would like to now introduce Ms. Cheryl Burke. Thank you.
When we started the lab, we really wanted to start with the freshman class. So our seniors, they're our first inductees into the lab, and we, Mr. Watkins and my son looked at football players mainly. They started with football players. Robert was coaching at the freshman school at that time. And kids who had leadership potential, but maybe would need some support and some resources in their life. Maybe most of them are going to be first generation college students. And so they've not had the kinds of experiences and relationships to support them on that journey. And so one of the big pieces of the lab is that each student is assigned a mentor. And my husband is a mentor for Jose Hernandez, who's a senior this year. And so that means Jose gets me as a mentor too. And I can say that he has changed our lives. He's a great kid, and he applied to EKU. A week later, he was accepted, and he's already been given $3,500 in scholarship money, you know, without applying for it. So what we're trying to do as mentors in the lab is walk beside these students and help them as they apply for colleges and make sure that they're successful in the future and navigate those waters with them. I had a Wilkes grant last year, and as a lab, we went on two college visits. We went to Ohio State University, and we went to the University of Cincinnati. And you know, as we were standing in a dorm room, that was kind of a new experience for a lot of the kids. And we want to provide the kind of support they need to be successful in the future. One of the things we'd like to do is to develop a Facebook page where those kids that are away at college, they join, and then when they have a question or a problem, they can get on there. We'll be checking that every day, and then we can offer the kind of supports that they need. We started the freshman year with just some cultural and social experiences, Sean is going to talk about some of those, so I won't steal his thunder. And then as they moved into the junior and senior year, we want to focus on career and post-secondary. So that's kind of the curriculum for the lab. And there are a lot of people who've been involved. We started just meeting at my house and having breakfast and chatting, and Zaleen Miller was a part of that, and Harry Phillips, and lots of people who said, you know, this is really a need in Hamilton. We've got kids who are kind of falling through the cracks, and how can we support them, and how can we help them see the potential that they have to lead and to do and to go to college? Because many first-generation college students really don't see that in themselves until somebody else is whispering in their ear, this is something you can do. You can do this. You have this potential. And so we wanted to be that support system and work with them. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Sean to you. I first met him when he was a 7th grader at Wilson Middle School. And he was just a standout student, a standout athlete. He had an honor schedule. He earned A's and B's while he was at Wilson. And he was kind of my go-to student. If I needed somebody to walk a guest around the building or to speak at an event, I was asking Sean to do that for me. He is the only student who received a college interest letter at Wilson Middle School in my principalship. So he's a great kid. One of my proudest memories of Sean is from his freshman year, and my son was working with 4 members from that initial class, and they were developing the pledge for the lab and the kind of core values for the lab. And I happened to be at the freshman building that day, and they came back from doing that work, and Sean read that pledge, and he read those core values to me, and I cried because I felt like it was the best student work I had ever seen. So he's going to talk about that a little bit, and you'll get to see what they came up with for the lab, what they wanted the values of this group to be, because we want them to be leaders, and we want them to support each other in addition to having mentors support them. And so with these student leaders, we have kind of a platform to focus on many young men in the future. Things really have not changed for Sean much since he left Wilson Middle School, because he's still a great student. We had 7 members of the lab have an A grade point average for first 9 weeks. We were very, very proud of that. Sean was one of those. And he's just a standout in the classroom still. He's a standout on the field and on the court, basketball court. And he has accepted a football scholarship to Indiana University. It's been a privilege for me to watch him mature, and it is an honor to introduce him to you today, Sean Riggins.
Good morning, everyone. Before I start, I would like to acknowledge the guys in the lab. So if you could you please stand up? Before I start, I would like to thank Mr. Alf, Mr. and Ms. Burke, Mr. Watkins, and my mentor, Mr. Smallwood, for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the Leadership Academy at Blue. I want to start off with reading you guys the pledge. It says, "It takes hard work and dedication to become a part of the lab. As a member of the lab, I will encourage others to follow my lead and do better in life. I shall not only help others, but help myself to strive for success in life. Tell me that I can't, and I will." When we were coming up with that lab, it was me and 3 other guys. just brainstorming ideas of what we thought would make us successful and help make other people successful in our community. And we just thought that having a pledge will help us keep a goal and like a platform for us in our heads. So whenever we were in a difficult situation, we can refer back to our pledge and help us get through that situation. Being in the lab has helped me learn many things. And one thing was learning how to become a leader. And what I thought was a leader before the lab was not actually a leader. It was a boss. And there's a big difference between a leader and a boss. When I got into the lab, I learned that a leader is one who puts others up and not down. A leader is someone who motivates others to do better things and make better decisions in life. When I was in the 8th grade, when I thought a leader was a leader, I was the quarterback of the football team, and we were going through a tough game, and our center had been having a tough game, and I yelled at him and told him he wasn't doing pretty good. And I got in trouble for that. And that's what I thought was a leader, was to yell at my teammates. But once I got into the lab, I learned that a leader is someone who motivates others. A leader is someone who tells someone how to do the thing correctly the next time they're in that situation, and not someone who puts someone down. My most impactful experience with being in the lab was our first outing at Camp Camel Guard. We had to rely on each other to get through obstacle courses. We had to rely on each other to figure out puzzles. We had to figure out clues to solve puzzles and everything like that. And I would have to say that helped me realize that we have a brotherhood here and we can always rely on each other. And that outing, we had a bonfire and we talked about things that we probably hadn't talked about to our own families. And that just brought us together closer, just talking to each other. And not only does the lab help me realize what a leader is, it showed me that the little things in life matter as well. We went to another outing at Cincinnati State, and we learned how to set up a dinner table. We learned how to put the fork and the knife and the spoon in the right positions and how to have the correct dinner manners and how to sit properly at a dinner table. On to my mentor, Mr. Smallwood. He's not here today. He had a field trip with the middle school in Washington, D.C., but we talk every day, and actually I'm gonna text him after this and tell him I was nervous in the speech. But we talk every day, and it's a consistent thing. We try to get together at least once a week and grab some pizza or some wings from BW3s or anything like that. And he's been a big part of my life. He's helped me with figuring out what college I wanted to go to. He's helped me figure out what major I wanted to study in college, and I decided to study sports management or sports medicine. He helped me do some research on the sports medicine program at Indiana University. And from all the serious stuff, he also helped me carve my first pumpkin this year. And we actually carved the Indiana logo inside the pumpkin. Before I go, I just want to say that being in the lab has motivated me to be a way better person. It helped me realize that I could do anything that I put my mind to, and that only I can stop myself from being successful. And yes, we do have mentors and have people helping us along the way, but only we can determine our success. So before I leave, I want to end with this. Tell me I can't, and I will.
That was awesome. Thank you, Ashan. I need to go on that Cincinnati State trip myself to set up a table and learn the dinner etiquette, I believe. But what a fantastic outing that would be for our young men. Our next part of the program is is a question and answer session. And to help lead that, we're going to have Brittany Blevins as well as Suzanne Gill take us through and what our expectations are. But this is really where the learning comes in and the interaction comes in between our adults in our community and our students. So Brittany and Suzanne, if you want to come up and kind of explain what we're going to do here for a few minutes.
Hi, good morning. Sean, great job. Mr. Small would be proud. And I'm Suzanne Gill, and this is Brittany Blevins, and we've had the pleasure to graduate from Hamilton High School and now be able to teach here across the hall from one another. So we feel pretty blessed to be a part of this community and just to have such wonderful people here to demonstrate and highlight that. So what we would like for today is we have some questions to guide everyone, and
yeah. Also, Sean, we saw your pumpkin, and it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah. He had it proudly lit up and on display on Halloween. So at this point in the program, if everyone opens up their blue program, there's a section where it says student engagement questions. And we would like for you to really interact with the students and see the leadership qualities that we see every day, much like Sean displayed when he was up here. So obviously have open communication and let it flow, but these are to guide you and get to know our students. So please take the time to do so.
At this time, I have the distinct honor to introduce our featured guest speaker, Mr. Joshua A. Smith. I was just having this conversation yesterday with Terry Patterson about how proud we feel to live in Hamilton, especially when our out-of-town family guests come in and comment on all the city's development. This is a direct result of Joshua's innovative leadership and efforts to continue to make us Hamilton proud. I was fortunate to attend a meeting over the summer with Joshua and other city leaders, and honestly, I was blown away and truly inspired by his enthusiastic passion to drive this city forward. It was a great experience to be a part of. As a lifelong resident of Hamilton, I want to personally thank you for all of your hard work to make this city thrive again. The Hamilton City Council unanimously appointed Joshua A. Smith as Hamilton's 17th city manager, with Mr. Smith being sworn into office on September 7th, 2010, at the age of 36. As the chief executive officer of the city, he is responsible for a $400+ million all-funds budget and oversight of over 625 city employees. He began his career as an unpaid intern for the city of Waukee, Iowa, while in graduate school, where he eventually was promoted to Director of Economic Development, Deputy City Administrator. Please help me welcome Mr. Joshua A. Smith.
The best part of speaking is when I know it's over at 9 o'clock and it's 8:59, so I get to condense all my comments. Sean, I want to tell you that you did a tremendous job. I don't know why you were nervous, because I thought you did an outstanding job. But the one thing that you said, and I'm going to talk very quickly because I know time is very scarce, is I want to talk about Abraham Lincoln this morning, about leadership. And what you said, I think, encapsulates Lincoln's leadership in a simple sentence. When you talked about you want people to follow, not because you tell them to follow, but because you inspire them to follow, that to me was Abraham Lincoln. Is so outstanding job with grasping that concept, because I think, in my mind, that is what made him a tremendous leader. I mean, for those of you who know that Lincoln's background, he was born in rural Kentucky in 1809 to a very poor farming family. They moved to Indiana at an early age because his parents were opposed to slavery, and Indiana was a free state, and Kentucky was not. It was not only for that philosophical reason, but it was also for economics. It was when you were a farmer, slaves versus no slaves made a difference, but Lincoln did not have the luxury of what the students in this room have today, which is a formal education. He had combined 1 year of education as a child, 1 year of what we would call formal schooling. And the two things that he relied on, and I'm going to distill my comments down to these two thoughts because of time, he relied on Shakespeare and he relied on the Bible. And there's two things in the Bible that he had actually, if you read through his speeches, woven through his speeches in his lifetime, that really grabbed my attention. The first one was in the book of Matthew when he talks, and I'm paraphrasing, you know, a house divided cannot stand. And he talked about that during the Civil War, but when you think about that from a leadership perspective, to me that's all about conflict resolution. You can't have internal conflict. I don't care if it's in a household, I don't care if it's in a school environment, I don't care if it's in city government. You need to figure out a way to resolve conflict so you can move forward. The second thing in the book of Revelations, again, I'm paraphrasing a verse, but it is essentially, do not be lukewarm. Be either hot or cold, or I will spit you out of my mouth. To me, that talks about you need to own what you're doing. Meaning, if you're going to do it all the way. Don't be lukewarm on something. If you're not going to do it, don't do it. Be cold on it. But if you're going to do it, be warm or hot on it and just do it and own that. And I think about that from a leadership perspective because that's how you get results. If you're not going to do it, just don't do it. Don't even pretend to do it. But if you're going to do it all the way. Do it to the best of your ability, and that's what leaders do. It is now 9 o'clock. I will say thank you. I appreciate the time this morning.
Well, if there's anything I know about Joshua, is he's not lukewarm on anything. And if we had additional time, he could probably take you through some of the things that are happening in the city, and they're fantastic things. And I think we see it on Main Street. We'll soon see it on Main Street, but we certainly see it on High Street and in the German Village. So thank you for everything. I want to thank you all for attending today. It was fun, and something we do in the fall and then again in the spring. And it's important that we reach out to our community and send you out of this building with a better idea of what we do here every day, who we are and what we do. And who we are is sitting right next to you today. And I think you had a great opportunity to sit and meet with some of our students that display who we are. And what we do is impact lives every day. And we see it in the hallways. We saw it earlier today. You can walk around our building and see how that impact is helping not only Hamilton City Schools get better, but also the city of Hamilton get better. Please feel free to help yourselves to additional breakfast. I know our gentlemen probably will in the lab. But also, talk some more at your table. Joey, you're probably not in a rush to get to class, are you? No, and I get it. If you want Joey Reese to take you around and show you the building, please get him to do that, or take one of our other students. If you want to walk around and see the impact that goes on at Big Blue every day, go ahead and do that. But I thank you so much for coming in today and seeing Hamilton High School and being a part of our community breakfast. Thank you.